Hi, I'm Linda Tillis, and I'm a recently published author. It's been in the last 2 years, but I'm really enjoying putting some things down on paper that have troubled me. I did 20 years as a crime scene investigator with the local police department, and so I saw a lot of things that I really needed to get out of my system, and writing books has been a great way for me to do that. I'm going to read to you today the dedication of this book to the men and women of law enforcement who deal with death and mayhem every day. I salute your perseverance, your dedication to duty, and the courage which causes you to put your life on the line for me and mine. I thank you. Now I'll read a little bit of the book, and hopefully it'll be something that you'll be interested in. Samuel woke with a start. It was the new moon, and the sky through the window was still very dark gray. Samuel figured it was somewhere around 5 in the morning. He lay still, waiting for his mind to recognize what woke him. Nope, nothing came to him. Well, he was awake now, so he might as well make a start on the day. There were no lights on in the main house yet, so he pushed his motorbike a quarter mile or so down the lane before he started the engine. He'd go on into town and check on the officers on patrol and see if any strangers had been seen around McDuff's place. When he pulled his motorbike in front of the station, it looked like the whole night shift patrol was gathered on the front steps. "Morning, Sergeant Wilkes. You boys about ready to go home and get some sleep?" Sergeant Wilkes shook his head. "No, I don't think I'll sleep a whole lot today, especially when Captain Lance gets through with me." Samuel had known Howard Wilkes for several years. Wilkes had been the patrol deputy who informed them when Margaret, the housemaid, was murdered. "What's wrong, Wilkes? Why will the captain be after you?" "Well, it seems that while Deputy Harris was having his supper, someone snuck into Hamish McDuff's place and killed him." Samuel's every sense became instantly alert. "What time did you find the body?" he snapped. Sergeant Wilkes let out a long, exasperated breath. "Harris was making hourly rounds. The last time he was by there was 10:30. He was due back at 11:30, but he thought he'd run home for supper first. Then he walked up on a domestic argument and about midnight, and didn't make it back to McDuff's until almost 2. He found the door to the storehouse open, which was not like McDuff, so he checked inside and found the man dead." "How?" Samuel rapped out. "How was he killed?" "His back appears to have been broken, as well as his neck. Don't worry, we have a man standing by outside the building so you can do whatever it is you do." It was common knowledge among the force that Samuel Hinton would visit every murder scene. Not everyone understood why, but Wilkes was aware that Samuel had keen instincts about these things. Wilkes looked at Samuel now. Word had already spread that he talked with the dead. Wilkes wasn't one to gossip, but there was something odd about the way Samuel seemed to know things. Samuel said, "Thanks, Sergeant. I'll head on over there now." The sky had begun to lighten, but the man guarding the warehouse still had a lantern lit, as if holding off spirits with that yellow light. Samuel nodded to the deputy and took the lantern. "No one has been in, sir, not since he was found." "Thank you," Samuel said, pushing open the door. Hamish lay in the back corner of the windowless building. His head was at an odd angle, and there was a look of surprise on his tired old face. Samuel held the lantern high and searched the floor. It was not terribly dusty, and there had been at least 2 people inside since the killer left. He was unable to distinguish any shoe or boot marks, or moccasins for that matter. He squatted by Hamish and set the lantern on the floor. He spotted a sliver of something white under the body. Samuel gently rolled Hamish to his side and extracted a piece of crushed paper from under him. He turned it over and immediately recognized Edith's flyer. "So, old man," Samuel whispered, "you tried to warn him." Samuel gently closed Hamish's clouded green eyes. He hesitated, his palm resting on the old man's forehead. He whispered, "Hamish, Hamish, you should have told me. What can you tell me now?" Samuel was completely motionless, staring into the dark corner. He closed his eyes, and after a time he envisioned Nash standing in a small clearing, his head thrown back and his mouth wide open in a scream. There was a small building with one high window. Nash stepped to the doorway, and Samuel could see the inside of the one-room cabin. There was a bed with a broken length of chain attached. Ah, so the big man has lost something, or someone. Samuel stood and looked down at Hamish one last time. I hope you knew the Lord, old man, and I hope he is welcoming you now.